Hi everybody, it's Alex Fournier for AlexFournierArt.com and Artistic Purposes. Today we're honored to have Rebecca Teale, dancer, performer, choreographer, and fashion designer, modeling for us today from the other side of the world. How's it going, Rebecca?
Hi Alex, how are you?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to it.
Excited about this collab, so.
Certainly, Rebecca. So excited to be working on this collaboration with you. Can't wait to work on other things in the future. Thanks for being with us today.
No, it's been a pleasure. I mean, obviously we have had to fix up a bit the timetables because we're in opposite places in the world, but it always works out.
All right, and Rebecca, if our viewers draw anything inspired by these poses after downloading your images and all that stuff, can they tag you on Instagram? Is that all right?
Of course, Alex. I would love to see the artworks.
And everybody, think of this. I also found out that Rebecca is a flamenco dancer. And so I have some ideas for maybe some animation courses or some digital painting courses that include flamenco in the mix. All right, should we get started?
Sounds good, Alex. Just give me a moment.
All right, today I'll be using General's compressed charcoal. This is a 4B today, and a kneaded eraser, which looks like that. All right, let's get warmed up for today's session with 5 one-minute poses. All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna try to stay really loose here. Okay, next pose. Okay, next pose. Okay, gotta think all these kind of crunched up. Okay, next pose. Okay, I'm going to flip to the next page. Okay, think of the contours of the items. Okay, next pose. All right. All right, that was a fun warm-up. Thanks, Rebecca. All right, let's take a closer look at our drawings here and see what we can learn. Now, keep in mind, they're 1-minute drawings. You're never going to quite be satisfied. You're always going to want more. But let's just take a look here. So we have this pose here, okay? And part of what I was trying to get at was the turn this way of the hips, kind of starting to kind of turn under, and the turn this way, which is going kind of the other way. And so I was trying to get that kind of with this line here and that line there. Okay, and I tried to at least imply this kind of the shoulder coming out of the side there, the chest here, try to imply which contour this forearm is coming this way. Didn't quite get to declare that, you know, this cylinder is going the other way. Okay, just got to just the implication of a head, but not quite any further. Let's take a look at this one, which the pose is very nice pose. We've got some interesting cast shadows, but of course in a 1 minute, we got to just try to do what we can do. So part of what I noticed was you got the hips kind of turning out this way, right? And yet up here, you've got this going this way, right? It's a little hard in 1 minute to get these overlapping shapes here and then kind of have them coming around. One thing you notice is I do this little circle trick around the joint, and I'll show you more about that later, but it's just a quick trick to try to get basically where the flesh is overlapping and trying to get that almost like the range of motion that this joint has in which direction it's going, and therefore it's easier for me to kind of place the next angle of the joint without making it look like it's too long or stretched too far. Okay, we did get a little implication of a face and tried to even just imply there's a little bit of the ponytail. Okay, so we've got the next pose here. Okay, this is fun. It's always fun to do these kind of squash and stretch poses, right? Okay, so over here, right, we've got stretch, over here we've got squash, right? And so you can see almost like these cascading kind of rings of contour, okay? They go like that. All right, this part here was just basically a hint at these other fingers. It's as much as I'm gonna give it. This arm here, and then this arm kind of basically foreshortening, kind of shooting away from us that direction, okay? And you can notice I did this circle again near the joint. Same idea, it's for the range of motion, and it helps me kind of look at, all right, so this is a hinge going that direction and trying to, trying to make it look proper without getting too stretched out. It also seems to help me not make it look like two flat sets of lines that are connecting, but that this is a contour going this way, this is a contour going the other way, and this is the range of motion of the joint right here, okay? And there's a lot of other things you can do with that trick, which I'll show in later videos when you're showing the joint kind of compressing on itself and you have a little bit of fat or flesh that pops out from the side of that joint. So you can look forward to that in another session. All right, taking a look at the next page here. I really like this pose. We are gonna handle that again with a little more time later in the video. All right, so this one's kind of fun, right? Because you have the top kind of torso kind of come in one direction and the hips kind of go in another direction, and yet it's a little like you can't quite see it. It's a little hidden, it's not too pronounced, but I could see that kind of this is popping out one way, this is going the other way. Okay, here's something fun with the arms. I was able to give a hint of the contours so we can tell this one, these lines are indicating the direction of that cylinder, right? So in that case, we've got a cylinder, right, going that direction, okay? And so we've got cylinder there, and then this other one, you see my line here, so that's indicating this cylinder is going this way. So I was quite happy with, to get that clue in the drawing, and it's always hard to do a hand behind a back, especially in a quick pose, so I was glad with how that worked out. Okay, you see how I have the top of the back side, kind of the muscles popping up here and underneath. Okay, so that was a nice contour that I was able to get, which I was happy with, kind of getting that. You can see that this is going in, this is the small of the back going up there, okay? And this other arm, more defined, a little better on the top. We did basically a nestle and drag on the top to indicate that form is lower or underneath that form, okay? And we did our kind of arm coming around the top here, okay? I didn't get as far, knowing I would have run out of time if I spent too much time with this hand over here. Okay, so this is a little lacking some three-dimensionality here, but you can't expect everything from 1 minute. But if I took longer with this, I'd want to indicate that there's some amount of cylinder here, right? That's telling me it's not a total flat drawing, right? So that even that would be a little better, okay? All right, and I feel pretty happy about how this worked here. I would have liked, in longer time, which I'll do in the later pose, is to define the shadows a little better, but I feel like there is some three-dimensionality here. We have continued the curves on the legs. We have indicated that this leg is on top of that leg for that part of it, okay? So I feel pretty happy about how that worked. And we even got the braided ponytail, so at least we got some character into our 1 minute. All right, moving on to our next one. We actually have the torso and the hips kind of turning two different directions here. So you can see me trying to imply that there's a little bit of kind of, this type of movement on top, and under here it's going the other way, right? Okay, so that's what I was trying to kind of get at, the two different angles. A lot of times when there is a dynamic pose, you almost have to think it can't be facing the same way. It needs to, there's two different angles. So you've got to think, okay, cylinder of the chest is going this way, this one's going this way, okay? And then you have the shape of the hip here. I've kind of exaggerated it a little, okay? And then this, I do like how my contours worked out relatively well on bicep, shoulder. We've at least indicated an armpit. It's not quite defined there, but you notice my little circle, and I can tell this form is on top of that form, okay? And then it's coming into the hand. Obviously not quite defined, maybe too short, maybe too fat in this spot. But it's only 1 minute. You just do your best and you move on. All right, Rebecca, if you can do 2 5-minute poses for us. Timing now. All right, Rebecca, you can do the next pose. We are timing. Okay, see me doing that again. Talk about it later. Trying to make sure I don't run myself out of time by talking. Okay. Okay, knowing I can't get like everything I want to do in this pose, I'm going to try to just get a little further defined on what I actually want to get done, okay? Okay. All right, thank you, Rebecca. All right, so we had a lot more fun with some of the deep shadows, cast shadows. Got some fun with the hair and the braid. Okay, we got a little further into defining some of these muscles and these shadows. We've got foreshortening here with the foot. We've got kind of a hard, kind of straight angle with the arm and the elbow. Pretty happy overall with how the turns are going, and definitely had fun throwing in a little bit of detail in the hair, just so we can kind of get a little more of the person or the character that we're drawing. All right, let's revisit some of the shorter poses and extend the time to 5 minutes. All right, let's get started. Okay, we've got about a minute left. Trying to get a little more three-dimensionality into a few of these forms. All right, not bad. So we've got basically the full form. We've been able to deal with a lot of the actual cylinders and their direction. Okay, but if I had more time, what are some other things that I would take this a little bit further? Okay, so we've got it basically set up, but let's say if I was going to take it further, I would start introducing some darker tones in here. Okay. Try to get some more three-dimensionality. Okay, I would try to introduce a little more movement on the head. Okay, a little bit of turning edge on a few of these. Okay, I would add a little turning edge here. Okay, I would maybe add a little bit of this shadow here. Okay, I'm trying to indicate this one's on top of that one. Doing some core shadows. And remember, a lot of the time, this kind of sideways motion, what you try to do is stay with the direction of the actual cylinder, right? The contour of the cylinder, right? Okay, so if these were loops around that cylinder, okay, and as we change direction here, now this is going this direction. So if I was gonna add some turning edge effect on this, then that's the direction I would go. Okay, and what can we do with this arm? Okay, so there is like an actual core shadow there because there's a light source on the left side hitting this part of the arm. Okay, and looks like that will help to get there we go. All right, and not too worried about the fingers, but let's go ahead and just add a little more fingers there. Okay, and I'm trying to indicate the actual kind of folds of the back. I'm not worried right now about the swimsuit, which is causing some of it, but I'm just busy doing the actual figure. Okay, did a little turning edge on the shoulder. Okay, so can we work on the shadows now? So some cast shadows. Okay, and I'm not gonna go overboard on them, but okay. So obviously the darkest part is gonna be where the actual arm is touching. Okay, and then it's gonna fade a little bit. Okay, it helps to draw like the shape of the shadow just to kind of give it a boundary. Okay, I'm going to do just this turning edge so that we really feel this three-dimensionality right here. Okay. All right, let's work on the shadow of the ponytail. Okay, so I'm going to lightly draw the hard part of the shadow, like the hard edge. Very lightly indicate as it's kind of fading away, right? And we're going to color it from this direction. Okay, see how it already like starts to fade away. We still need it to be a hard edge right here. Okay. Okay, so it's important like which side is dark. Okay, and it fades away that direction, right? We talked about lost and found shadows, which I didn't come up with a term, but I've heard it somewhere. You've got the hard edges, those would be found, right? And as it fades away into disappearing, that's lost, right? All right, so let's, obviously the angle of the head isn't quite right, but it is what it is. Too late now. Okay, so let's have just a few textures of the hair. Doesn't always take much, okay? And made it a little too dark on the top, so I'm just going to press into it. Okay. All right, let's do a little more defining down here because it looks like her hand feels super big, but it's just because I didn't actually define it. Okay, and I'm just kind of leaving it simple for the time being. Okay. Let's fix this down here. It looks a little odd. Okay, and we could actually come back in and blur it a little. I'm not going to do it on the whole thing, but okay, this one needs to be an actual hard edge. Okay, not too bad. Let's do a little turning edge on here just to make it stand out a little better. All right, let's tackle another 5-minute pose. We're going to see how far we get, and then afterwards, let's take a little further, see what we could add if we had more time. Okay, I'm going to start laying in some shapes real quick. Got 1 minute left. Not going to worry about the cast shadow on our face yet. Could be for the end if we decide to do it. Okay, I'm just trying to get a little three-dimensionality to the hair. Okay. So one of the ways to get a little further in a sketch on a 5-minute pose is to do a detail, right? And so, yes, we went a little bigger with the face here, but we were able to do that detail knowing we don't have to deal with the whole pose, right? We've just looked at one small part, okay? So that's one way to get a little further detail but still have a short pose is take one part, one shadow, one form on top of a form or volume on top of a volume, and attack that for the 5 minutes. So if we had more time with this sketch, what would I do next? All right, I like how the hair is starting to get some forms. Okay, gonna add a little turning edge on this shoulder, trying to get it to pop out a little bit. Okay. All right, we've got a cast shadow here that's kind of fun. So I'm gonna just get a little of the cast shadow there. Okay, get a little of this form. Okay, and some suit going that direction. Now remember, if we want to make something look like it's on top, or picture in Photoshop with like a drop shadow, right? How do we make that drop shadow? Well, it's a shape next to it that starts like a hard shape and softens out, okay? So in my case, I call this the nestle and drag, right? I'm not going to deal with the hands for this pose. Okay, over here, we're trying to show there's like a shadow here, but it kind of tightens in right here, okay? Kind of under some flesh there. Okay, we got the bicep here. And let's just do a little turning edge just to make that form stand out. Okay, and part of this is just, if you were sketching or moving forward in a sketch without a time limit, then you start to build this just the way you want to build it, right? And so I'm showing you like, what would I do if I was having fun with this sketch, to take it a little further. Okay, we've got the ear. All right, let's get some more three-dimensionality to the hair. Okay, and the same thing applies when we're trying to make a form or volume like on top of something. You got to do the like a nestle and drag. Okay, and you basically go hard edge to soft edge is kind of as it moves. Okay, and let's try to figure out which way the hair is moving here. And okay, and I'm just trying to make it look like there's some wave to it. Okay, and right now I'm kind of doing like the same technique as the turning edge, where I'm starting on the edge, moving my way in, because I want it to look like it's curving around or coming out three-dimensionally. Okay. Okay, so I want those highlights to be there, but I still wanted a little texture of the hair, okay? Okay. Okay, and looks like maybe it doesn't need to be quite as dark. Okay, so let's start doing some of the form shadows on the nose. Okay, there's a little bit of uplight here as part of why the lighting is the way it is. Okay, I was a little, eyebrow looks like it needs to be a little bigger and a little higher. Okay, trying to get a little forms in here, cheekbone form, okay, and a little bit of the hair there, okay, and okay, and what can we do? Let's do some turning edge on the chin just to try to make this, stand out from the background a little bit. So what I'm doing there is I'm actually introducing a tone so that I can draw kind of the reverse, which is the highlight. So the highlight's going to be negative space, but we have to make it stand out from the paper. Okay, let's do a little bit of tone under here. Okay, And we have okay, and let's play a little bit with this cast shadow. See how it has a more saturated shadow and color right on the edge. So what I'm trying to do with this is kind of imply this is light, right? Okay, see how that's working? And okay, so it looks like light. Okay, let's do a little turning edge kind of under this arm. Help it stand out even more. And I don't always smear it like this, but because we're kind of rendering without a time limit. So I'm really kind of just playing a little bit, just trying to build things up very slowly. Okay, I'm going to need to move that. We've got some cool light play kind of happening here. Let's try to get a little of the light play that's up here as well. See how I made the shapes kind of outlines of the shadows before I committed to filling in the shadows? Found that really helps. All right. Okay, is there anything else we could maybe do a little tone up there? Okay, just trying to make the hair look like it's on top of the ear. All right, let's revisit this one real quick. I just want to look at the profile, okay? And we're going to draw it in a very simple way and maybe small, okay? Okay, just doing just a few textures of hair just to establish which direction things are going. But I'm not trying to draw every hair. I'm just trying to imply that there's hair going in different directions. Okay. Okay, just going to draw the shadow of the ear. Okay. I want to leave a highlight underneath. You don't have to do this. This is just for enjoyment. See how I leave like an extra little highlight on the other piece just to not ruin what I did. Okay, kind of fun. Okay, kind of pops out there. All right, it's been a great session. I'll leave a link to your website, your Instagram. I know you just got finished with a bunch of photo sets, so they can visit those and purchase those photo sets for their own art.
Well, thank you ever so much. I can't wait either to actually create a few more things. All the best of luck.
All right, hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. It was certainly fun for me and Rebecca. Keep an eye out for collaborations in the future. Give me a like, subscribe, follow her on Instagram. Check out my website, alexfournierart.com, and have a great day.